how did I get my driver's license as someone who is blind in one eye, and what did that process look like, and how did it differ from someone who has normal sight? Um, it didn't differ a whole lot, but I'm going to kind of highlight the points where it did and go over that here. Um, I had to go through driver's education because I got my license when I was under 18, and that is the standard thing in Washington State, and I'm sure across a lot of the US. Some of this may differ if you live in another country, so I would advise you to look up your local driver's policies in your area. But the important thing to highlight about driver's ed is that in the course that I took, had 5 practice tests that I could do with an instructor in the car, and I could take my final driver's test through the school. Now, this is what everyone else was able to do, and I did too, or so I thought. I took all of my practice tests and did really well in them, but I did have to actively tell each instructor while we were on our tests that I have blindness in my left eye. I can't see. So when I'm checking my blind spot on my left side, I do actively have to crane my neck very far to the left outside of the normal, range of motion that someone else who has their vision might have to do. Like if you're checking your blind spot and you have normal vision, you just do a very slight head turn and you're good. But I have to like really make sure I know what I'm looking at before I go. And that way I'm a very safe driver on the road. Um, as long as I told them it was never an issue, I just have to accommodate that by actively ensuring that, of course, the road is very clear ahead of me for a long time ahead of me before I do that because I am looking at taking my eyes off the road for a tiny, tiny bit longer than other people would. So I go through all my tests. I do my final test. I pass first try. And then I take my result into the Department of Licensing and, like, here, give me my license, please. And then they check my vision, which is a normal thing. They wanted me to do the test where, like, you put your eyes in this, like, device and they project a hot air balloon in the far back and you have to describe stuff about it. This is like 6 years ago. I may be misremembering at this point. But that was one thing they had to do. And then they had me look into this other device that is all blacked out. And then they would flash like little green laser points at different points in your field of vision and make sure that you can see everything like in your peripheral vision well. And then that's where they figured out that, oh, yeah, I'm blind in my left eye. And so when they learned that, they said, oh, actually, sorry, you're going to have to take another driver's test with a specialized instructor through the Department of Licensing. So that is one point where it differed for me. I had to get a specialized instructor with me who was trained to make sure that I was accommodating my own like vision differences well. And so that just meant I had to take 2 driver's tests instead of one, and I passed that as well without many issues. And so when it came to that, that was pretty much the only difference in actually acquiring my license. But I still do things to make sure that I am a safe driver on the road to this day makes like that makes sure that I'm accommodating for my own like visual differences. So, some of that looks like I look very far to the left and very quickly though when I am driving. That's one thing. And another thing is I have depth perception differences, but it's only off in my case by about like an inch or so. So, I could think that this flashlight is right here and I think it's like right here. So I'm going to grab it and then I miss it. And so I occasionally do things like shoulder check a doorway because I think it's 1 inch over, or I spill my coffee mug because I knock it over instead of grabbing the handle. Like little things like that. So, how that translates into driving is when I am parking or like doing things that in much tighter spaces, parking or pulling up to a curb and making sure I'm within like the 12 inches legal parking way that they do it. Um, I just have to pay extra attention, move very slowly, and use the visual markers that they give you to kind of tell where your car is at in space and time. And it depends on what car you have. So you will learn the different points to look at in your car that means where your car is going to be when it comes to this space and time. So, um, I heavily rely on those, and those have been really helpful. And I would advise you to look it up because I will not do a good job at explaining it. But I use that and just overall move a little bit slower when it comes to deciding when I am going to turn onto a street. Or decide when I'm going to, like, for example, make a right turn on a red light, which is legal here. And I just give myself a lot of extra time to make that decision because for some reason, something with the depth perception and having cars coming towards me, I cannot exactly gauge how close they are, so I just make sure they're way too far away that I know that they're not going to get there for like an extra 10 seconds until I turn. And so that means that I am like a little bit of an annoying driver for other people who get stuck behind me in line. But frankly, I would rather be safer and not try to rush into a spot or a turn lane and cause an accident because I misjudged how far away a car was. Um, so I just make sure that I take it easy on the road and then I am all good. I haven't gotten pulled over at all, which is cool. In 6 years of driving, I think that's pretty good. And yeah, that's honestly about it. I would say that it did take me a little bit longer to learn that, like, distinction of when it is my turn to go, because when I was specifically driving for the first time, it felt like everything was coming at me all the time. And so I thought cars were a lot closer than they were. And so I would really wait, like, way, way too long. So I don't do that as much now. But I still make sure to give myself plenty of time, and that way I'm a safe driver on the road. So that is probably about it. I wish you a lot of luck if you decide to get your license, and I hope this was helpful. Thank you for watching. Have a good one.